we'd like to start out with a more general question. And I know the topic of the interview is the developments post October 7th, 2023. And it's really hard to talk about anything other than the ceasefire, because that has been the most recent and the biggest development that has happened. So, you know, what are your opinions on this? What do you think? Uh, how cemented is the peace, and how long can it last? And also, what does it say? Given what does it say about Israel, given that it's known to also violate peace at times? What does it say about Israel and similar Western institutions that claim to uphold international law, but at the same time, are a little contradictory on that front?
Yeah, that's a big question. So regarding the ceasefire, first thing I would say is that unfortunately, I don't think it would have been accomplished without President Trump coming into power, which is a bit of a contradiction in terms, but I think that the previous administration had not been able to accomplish that, although the final ceasefire that was agreed on had already been offered in May, and the Netanyahu government just ignored it, and the Biden administration was not putting enough pressure on Israel to accept it. So I'd say that I don't think that Netanyahu would have risked doing this without massive pressure from Trump. The question is what Trump promised him, because I don't think that there was only pressure. There were also all kind of promises by Trump. We don't know exactly what they were, but I suspect they had to do with the West Bank. I suspect that Trump was saying to Netanyahu, look, we need to stop this mess in Gaza. This is costing us a lot of money. It's a distraction for me. You have to be done with it. As for the West Bank, do whatever you feel you need to do. Because very shortly after the ceasefire agreement, the Israeli army invaded Jenin, and it's now there, and it's declared that it's going to stay there. And that's part of a pattern of operating in the West Bank in ways that are similar to operations in Gaza. So it's a sort of importing tactics from Gaza to the West Bank. So that's one thing I would say, and I don't know how far that goes, but it could be that this is the beginning, having heard now the Trump administration also talking about maybe just some other countries such as Egypt and Jordan taking in Palestinians from Gaza. So this may be part of a larger discussion going on behind the scenes as to annexation of parts of the West Bank, such as Area C. So that's one part of it. The second part of it is that the ceasefire, which I hope will hold, and I hope that they'll complete phase 2 and phase 3 and actually return all the hostages and return all the prisoners that were agreed on, Palestinian prisoners, or release them. But even if that holds, and my sense is that Netanyahu is very reluctant to do that. And of course, people in his government are against it, which is why Trump now invited him to the White House, it appears to me, as additional pressure wrapped in honoring him by a visit to the White House. Even if this holds and it happens, a ceasefire is just a ceasefire. And so in the long run, nothing has changed. Everything has remained the same, only tens of thousands of people have died and vast parts of Gaza have been destroyed. But the dynamics producing violence will continue, will not go away. So it could take another year, 2 years, 5 years, and everything will happen again. So that in that sense, what is needed, and I've been talking about it now for well over a year, is a change in the political paradigm, is to understand that there must be an agreement on how these two groups, Jews and Palestinians, share this space in whichever way they find appropriate and can agree on. But if they don't agree to share the space, the violence will continue. It won't go away. And no matter how many bombs you throw on Palestinians, and no matter how many you kill, unless you actually engage in total and complete ethnic cleansing, which is part of what Trump is talking about, the problem will not go away. I don't see, however, neither the internal dynamics in Israel and among Palestinians to produce this change of paradigm, and I don't see external dynamics, certainly not from the United States or Europe, to do so. So the most realistic scenario is that even if the ceasefire holds, what we're looking at is more and more suffering and more bloodshed. And usually there's more of it. Each time it happens, more people are killed and more suffering is experienced on both sides, but obviously much more on the side of Palestinians.